Watch this. You seen this? Ready? Look at that. Just, it's amazing. You see what I did there? I put the game into the console, turned it on, and then started playing. A simple yet extremely novel concept, right? Beautiful even. This is how easy it should be to play a video game. This is fun. You know what isn't fun? Waiting hours for an update to install, or slogging through a boring tutorial, or maybe not being able to even play the game you just bought. All of these factors and more add to a growing list of occurrences that have become commonplace in gaming. And with the 9th generation of consoles just around the corner, I wanted to show you guys a few things that ruin accessibility in gaming. The integration of network features in consoles has allowed for digital downloads to become very prevalent, if not the main way people get their games. I, for one, love the fact that I can download AAA titles directly to my console or PC, because it means I don't have to leave the house or interact with anyone. It's fantastic, but it does take some time to download games, and you know what? I totally get that. Like, I understand that that's going to be a thing that has to happen. So why is it that when I do get a disc, I still have to install the game? Why can't I just, play the game I just bought? And even if I do install the game off the disc, I still need the disc in the console to play the game. So, what's the point? I did a bit of research and found that the reason is due to the limited RAM capacity of the current disc-based consoles, the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4. I won't claim to know much about console hardware, but what I can glean from that explanation is that in 2013 the technology wasn't ready yet at an affordable cost, but Microsoft and Sony both said screw it and released those consoles anyways. Another thing they weren't ready for was how fucking big these games can get. I mean, Jesus, dude, it's gotten really bad. Gaming as a whole has been trending more towards digital downloads recently. You can see evidence of this with the new fully digital PS5 and the Xbox Series S. By the way, Microsoft, Phil Spencer, Todd Howard, Bill Gates, whoever is in charge of naming these things, can you guys stop sucking at it, please? Sony's got you beat here. Like, when somebody's talking about a Sony console, I don't have to Google search which console they're talking about. You're a billion-dollar company. Step it up. These consoles don't even have a disk drive, meaning that all games have to be downloaded, which is fine enough as a concept, but not when new games are constantly breaching the 100 gigabyte mark. Call of Duty Modern Warfare requires 209 gigabytes to play. 209. There needs to be some kind of solution to this. Either they have to give us more storage, or they've got to condense the file sizes, the latter of which is certainly possible. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, for example, is only 13 gigabytes to install, and this game has an absolutely massive world, packed with content. The more recently released Crash 4 is 45 gigabytes, and the amount of stuff there is in that game would make your head spin. But I can hear you saying already, that's just a cartoony platformer. That doesn't count. And I don't want to just rant here without facts. So I decided to do a bit of research on the topic, and the first article I found said that high-resolution games have larger file sizes. Okay, that makes sense. Higher resolution graphics must be what does it. This article goes on to cite Metal Gear Solid 5 as a benchmark for this. After all, it's an open-world style game with photorealistic characters and large, detailed environments. It would make sense if this one had a large file size. 11 gigabytes. And I give up. Updating games is both a blessing and a curse. With updating, developers can fix problems that may have been overlooked before the game shipped. They can also add more content to the game later to give players even more to do. These two features, when used correctly, are great for the gaming community. More often than not, though, updating just leads to frustration. Sometimes after a long day of helping out at my local soup kitchen in SPCA, while recycling plastic bottles and planting trees, I just want to get home, kick back with a beer, and game. But uh-oh, what's this? An update that's going to take 2 hours to install? Well, I guess I'll go find some orphans to save, because those 2 hours are my whole night, and I have to waste them waiting for an update to install. Now, I'm not suggesting that I don't want updates for my favorite games, but even if I acknowledge the fact that they can be a good thing, that doesn't mean I want to sit around waiting for them to install. That's boring. And boring isn't fun. The Xbox One and PS4 each have this issue, both with differing variables as to why. The Xbox's main problem is that the updates never download at or even close to my full internet speed, even if I'm wired in. Then you just gotta hope that the update doesn't decide to randomly freeze halfway through, causing a reset to fix it. Oh my god, you gotta be kidding me.
Where's 7? Did you just lag out?
Yep, my game just crashed. Xbox One, you are a piece of shit! And yet somehow, the PS4 is even worse due to its dreaded copying system. Guys, I have researched this topic extensively, and I cannot for the life of me find any reason as to why it exists. It takes so long, and sometimes it just fails, and you have to start all over again. You know who has this process nailed? Nintendo. Yeah, Nintendo, the company that's seemingly still running through dial-up, have made online updating a breeze. When the Switch has a system update, it applies the update, restarts, and then you're immediately taken to your homepage. Done. Start playing that Bubble Bobble. It just doesn't add up that Nintendo can get this right, but Sony and Microsoft can't. There's also a lot of stuff that Nintendo gets wrong, but we'll get to that later. Something that has become super popular this generation is free updates and DLC, and ironically, it was actually Fortnite that started this trend. The strategy is pretty simple. The developer continues releasing new content to keep the game feeling fresh and players engaged. This is a win-win. The player wins because they can enjoy the game for a longer period of time, and the developer wins because they can push their shitty DLC pass that costs $10 and not feel bad about it. I mean, they did provide the gamers with all that juicy, tasty downloadable content. It's only right for them to expect you to give up some of that hard-earned cash to your corporate overlords. All joking aside, this system works for me. I'm not going to fault developers for microtransactions for optional accessories, but I will absolutely complain about pay to win. Ah yes, using them dollar bills to win in a video game. What an interesting and fun mechanic. Let's talk about Activision for a second. EA is a poster child for this stuff too. I mean, just look back at Star Wars Battlefront 2's launch. But Activision's sins are a bit more personal to me, because they went and messed with something that I like. This is about me now. I've always been a pretty big fan of the Call of Duty games. I know. Call me a fake gamer all you want. But some of these games are good. Maybe. One that I like a lot is Call of Duty Black Ops 3. But Activision had to stick their grubby little fingers somewhere they shouldn't have by adding in loot boxes. Loot boxes in general just suck. If I want to pay for something extra in a game, then I want to know what I'm getting. Loot boxes just give you a random chance at getting something cool. It's essentially gambling, and it's fucking disgusting and despicable. But not only did they add those, they also put loot box exclusive weapons in the game, making it so you had to pay to get them, and even then, you still had to be lucky enough to unlock them. And before anyone comes at me in defense of these scumbags, not that I think anyone would, yes, you can technically unlock supply crates through just playing the game. However, the amount of time it takes to unlock them normally is so absurd that you might as well just buy the loot boxes and save yourself all that time, because time is money is money, and they are trying to steal them both! Anti-consumerism in gaming can be a tough subject to tackle. I may have my fair share of grievances with some of these devs and publishers, but I'm not ignorant. I know that logistically the reason games are made is to profit. I'm not going to sit here and say that every game should be free, because they shouldn't be. But there's a difference between regular consumerism and anti-consumerism. Let me start this section off by talking about something actually positive. I know, right? What a concept. There are some great deals out there in gaming that are beneficial to both parties, the player and publisher. And to me, there's not a better example than the Xbox Game Pass. For a company that is often scrutinized for its greedy business habits, Microsoft has nailed the Game Pass. It's a reasonable price at $10 a month for console and $14 a month for console and PC. It's got an insane variety of games, including AAA titles, new releases, and a huge selection of indie games. And it also allows you to download games to your console while you own a Game Pass subscription. Yes, the games do rotate in and out, so sometimes a game you like will leave the Game Pass, but there is usually plenty of time to play it before it leaves. It's great compensation for the $60 a year they've robbed us of since 2002 for Xbox Live. Sony also has a game subscription service, PS Now, but it's shittier? I'm not saying it's bad. In fact, I don't actually own a PS Now subscription, so my opinion is based on hearsay and a little bit of research that I've done. But from what I know, there's some weird stipulations with the subscription service, like full game downloads only being available for select titles and a resolution cap of 720p for streamed games. I also read an article that said that there's a queue for some games if too many people are trying to play them, which is pretty not cool for a paid service. And then there's the fucking king of gaming deals, the Steam Summer Sale, where game prices get cut 50 to 80%, and you can buy so many games that you forget that you even have some of them. I bought a Valve game bundle during the summer sale, mainly for the Portal and Left 4 Dead games for $22, that also includes like 20 other games that I'll never play. But I sure do own them. Now I'll jump from consumerism to anti-consumerism. All of these companies practice some form of bullshit that has absolutely no benefit to the player and is just a way to line their fat pockets with even more green stuff. Like I mentioned earlier, Microsoft has been charging $60 a year since 2002 for their online services. $60 for a service that has barely improved since then. $60 for a service that should be free. It's 2020. We live in an age where everything is done over the internet. You know, corporate jobs, basic communication, education, filing taxes. I mean, you don't see people having to pay to access their college's website. Wait, that's a horrible example. Point is, the internet has become a basic necessity. So why do I need to pay $60 for online services for my $500 console? And it's not like this is even optional. They charge for this knowing it's essential for use of the console. I mean, hell, they built Wi-Fi capabilities and an Ethernet port into the Xbox One. They knew this was necessary. And even worse is that we're paying $60 for a service that fucking sucks. It's slow, it's constantly having server issues and crashing or going offline, and you can't even play the games you own without signing into your account. Hey, Sony, I see you over there. Get back here, you little shit. You aren't getting off the hook either, because you fucking suck too. Sony used to have free online services for the PS3, but when the PS4 came out, they arbitrarily decided that it was worth money now. Like what? Now it's necessary to pay for this service? Didn't you guys already lose us enough money when your server got hacked and everyone's credit card info got stolen? Now we get to pay for the privilege of having our credit card info stolen. How lovely. Oh, and in a brand new development, Sony now listens to your private party chats and can ban you for what you say. In private parties. They are literally censoring people for what they say in private. In public games, sure, I totally understand banning players who say things intentionally to upset or offend others, but private conversations? Really? You know, there's a kick from party option that you guys implemented into the party feature. Now you might be saying, Trey, your Nintendo bias is showing, bro. You haven't mentioned them once. That's because Nintendo gets their own section. Nintendo understands that the most important part of gaming is, well, the games. They have been the marquee first-party developer since the 80s. They have the best games, and they have the most accessible way to play those games. Nintendo has always been innovative in ways games can be played, and more importantly, where they can be played. Their systems have always dominated the handheld gaming market, for example, because Nintendo believes people should be able to play games whenever and wherever. They've made a console based around the idea of gaming being a family activity. They've made a system that's both a console and a handheld. They even added a fucking handle to the GameCube so you can bring it to your friend's house and get force-stocked by a Pikachu main. All of this stuff is what sets Nintendo apart, and it's what's made them great. But at the same time, Nintendo has big issues that other companies don't have. Nintendo still doesn't understand that game consoles are also entertainment systems, and they still don't get online gaming. The Nintendo Switch doesn't have a chat function built in, instead opting for use of a separate phone app for party chat. They still don't host their own servers for online multiplayer in the year 2020, when one of their most successful first-party games ever is Smash Ultimate, a game played online by literally millions of people. The Switch doesn't even come with an Ethernet port. You have to play on Wi-Fi or buy a separate extension for a wired connection. And on top of that, you still have to pay for it. But the online service isn't even their gravest sin. Nintendo are the gatekeepers of the gaming community. It's almost as if they don't even want people to play the games on their system. The Switch has no subscription service with a bunch of games to play at an affordable cost. It never has sales for its first-party exclusives. Hell, Nintendo doesn't even have a good emulation system anymore. But they aren't showing any signs of changing that right now. And honestly, it fucking sucks. From a business perspective, some of this stuff makes sense, but it's not for very happy reasons. They continue to sell their older games at full price because they know that people will keep buying them. They don't need a subscription service for their games because people will keep buying them. They don't need a good emulation system for old games when they can just re-release them with almost no differences and people will keep buying them. Nintendo probably feels like they are untouchable, and currently, they kind of are. But I think they need to remember that not long ago, they were struggling to stay out of the red due to the failure of their last console. They certainly had time for sales in old game emulation then, since they were trying to scrounge up whatever money they could to make up for the shitty iPad ripoff. And lastly, a big fuck you for your absolutely disgusting handling of the Pokemon DLC fiasco. Making the DLC pass purposely confusing and then not offering refunds when people bought the wrong one was a real dick move, bro. Damn. My inner gamer angst really came out there. Okay, back to making fun of stuff. So now you have your game. You've installed it, and even downloaded the necessary update. Should be smooth sailing from here. But what if I told you that sometimes stuff in the games themselves suck too? I know. It's crazy to think about, but it's true. Let's start by ripping on Fortnite. It's an easy target, why not? Have you tried going on Fortnite recently? This game has become a real assault on the senses. Like every few minutes there's some flashy, brightly colored pop-up. Like I'm on a Flash game website or something. Seriously, it's an ordeal to just get into a game because the main menu is constantly being blocked by skin promotions. And God forbid you accomplish a minor task when you actually get into a game because there will be some kind of loud, obnoxious objective completion message. Again, stop! It's an assault on the eyes. It's honestly impressive how quickly they realize that all of their player base is children at this point. Like, there's knowing your audience and marketing to them, and then there's Fortnite. There are plenty of other issues that detract from the fun of games. For me personally, I cannot stand long tutorials. Assassin's Creed, bro! Assassin's Creed has the worst tutorial in any game ever made, 100% fact. It's literally 30 minutes of white backgrounds and walking. No exaggeration. So that's my pet peeve, but I wanted to do something a little bit different. So I asked you guys in my Discord server about some of the things that annoy you about games too, to get some insight into the mind of the gamer. When Trey streams them. Okay. When locations in-game are frustrating to find. You know, I think this one's kind of more game specific because I think if the game's designed around exploration, then locations probably should be harder to find. But if it's not, then it can be a little frustrating, so I get where you're coming from there. When the game doesn't play how the ads show it will. So lying. You must hate political advertising. Just like I do. How if the game is free, everyone thinks the game is a virus. What? Gamers. Same. When I'm not in them. Thanks, Obama. When they have Dark Souls 2 in the title. Microtransactions. And I responded to this with, so, microtransactions? I don't remember what the context was for that. I can see that message was edited, so I guess they edited it later, but I don't remember why I said that. 200 plus gigabyte games that don't bother to even try to reduce the file size. When games are too long for no reason. This is an absolutely great one by Scoob. In my opinion, I don't see the purpose for padding in video games because if the game is fun, it doesn't matter how long it is to me. Like, it's way more enjoyable to play a short, fun game than to slog for 30 hours of a 40-hour game. Something about gaming that irritates me is the push for $70 games for the 9th generation. Yeah, I can definitely see how that'd be irritating. But if you actually look at it, it's kind of crazy how they haven't pushed it to $70 earlier. I mean, they've been selling games at $60 as the full price for decades, despite rampant inflation in the market, which is kind of incredible. And finally, when they're not Raid Shadow Legends. This video is sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Play it for free now. Thank you guys for the help with that section, and thank you for watching the video. I'm not making this video as a way to shit on gaming completely. I just wanted to rant a little bit. I love games, and I want them to improve. So that's kind of the point of the video. Hopefully some of this stuff will get ironed out in the 9th generation coming soon, and we can all have a good time gaming together. But anyways, guys, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. That took way too fucking long to record.